Guys, today we're looking at my top 5 AD carries in patch 6.6. AD carries are shifting around so much right now. Basically, we're kind of just reacting to what is being picked top, jungle, and mid. Now remember, as always, to like this video if you did, dislike it if you didn't, comment with what you think, but let's start at number 5. So, Lucian's win rate is awful, and would definitely not put him in the top 5, but this is mostly because everybody is playing him at the moment. It's like Thresh. Thresh is considered to be good basically all of the time, but he's played so much that he rarely has a good win rate. Lucian is one of the few lane bullies that we're still seeing, which in theory actually makes him a better pick this patch. It is a little bit easier to snowball now, and that's what we're aiming for really. That's what makes him a top 5 AD. His ability to get a lead in lane through better trades and then push towers, group, and end the game as fast as we can. He does have a good mid to late game, but from what I've experienced recently, the games I've won have been mainly from my early lead where I'm able to really abuse the damage I have. Your passive, your dash, your ultimate all make you really good in team fights and able to come back in a game, and he is definitely more of a solo carry AD who can make plays himself. Next up, we're really flipping this completely on its head. From one of the lowest win rates to one of the highest. Ashe has one of the highest win rates in ranked. Not so hot in like bronze, but the higher you get, the better she is. I have played a lot of Ashe before and recently, and I've noticed that you are insane with a lead. You do so much damage, but you don't do much damage if you're behind. You are very item reliant, which means you're kind of either really strong when you have the items or weak when you don't. There's no middle ground. So like if Lucian has an average game, right, a bit behind, he'll still do good damage, but Ashe won't really. Your kiting is amazing. Runes does help with that and applies your passive to AoE like the slow, but it also applies your Q, the ranger's focus, which is so much AoE damage in a team fight. There are really two ways that I think of Ashe really. Her lane phase is good. She has good range, which means good poke with her crit passive and volley, plus her ultimate to engage and catch people or set up ganks. The other side is in team fights, she has that range which is now there to kite people and keep her safe, arrow to start fights, and damage that shreds tanks. The biggest problem has always been her lack of mobility, so if you get ganked or jumped on, there isn't really too much you can do, but thankfully the meta is becoming more passive, and like her arrow wins games by itself, her damage carries, and her win rate really speaks for itself. Taking our bronze spot is going to be Jhin, and this one is kind of funny because depending on who you talk to, he's either broken and overpowered or a really bad champion. Let me just settle that kind of idea right. In the right hands, he is amazing, but in the wrong ones, he is terrible. That's why you see so much of a difference. It's kind of like Nidalee. He can win or lose a game all by himself. So the good stuff first, and something you might not have realized is as important as it is, Deathfire Touch is so overpowered on Jhin. We're talking about the keystone that has the damage over time on it, and it has a good AD ratio, so the more AD you have, the more damage over time this keystone will do. Now with Jhin, not only do you build a lot of AD, but you get a percentage bonus per level, plus you turn some of your crit strike and attack speed into more bonus AD. So this means that Jin's bonus AD is ridiculous in a game, and yes, like he can only fire 4 shots, so it's supposed to make up for his reload time, but with Deathfire Touch, it just does so much damage over time with your Q, your W, and especially your ultimate. Even if people don't realize it as much, that's one of the things that is putting him over the edge, honestly. But he still has a good lane phase, good poke, a lot of kill potential with his crit especially, and his reload mechanic is not too hard to work around once you get used to it. Let's just speed on to our number 2 spot with Sivir. I actually can't believe these changes went live a few patches ago. The reason she's here is basically due to the insane damage her W bounces do when they crit late game. The meta is a bit better for her now, admittedly, like less assassins and a short range, plus kind of lack of a dash or whatever isn't as bad anymore. The real thing is just her damage though, and I'm going to give you an example. So one of the reasons Sivir fell out of favor in the first place was because of Vayne. She was so popular, and Sivir is such a free lane for Vayne. You can't fight Vayne. She'll tumble out of your Q, she'll do more damage, and there's nothing to really absorb with your spell shield, so Vayne free farms and probably kills you. That is actually still true now, but Sivir actually does more damage in a team fight now, and almost one-shots Vayne with an auto attack, auto reset with her W and Q. That's if Vayne ever gets close enough to you in a team fight, but most likely she's going to get hit by your bouncing W a few times from her allies, be taken low before she even reaches you. Her ultimate is great. Obviously I can't kind of go this whole way without mentioning at all. It can start fights, it can help you kite more, and it's a massive boost to your team in a fight. She is a good overall champion anyway. She has a good kit, and we're moving more to mid to late game, so Sivir's weak lane phase doesn't matter as much, and her insane damage mid to late is going to carry you even if you get behind. So the top spot once again belongs to Kog'Maw. I guess it took a few patches to realize that he was still really strong, but the meta shifted almost perfectly for him as well. We're moving more into tanks, more passive lanes, less aggressive supports, and less lane bullies, which are all exactly what he wants. Riot deliberately left him as his late game hyper carry tank killer thing that just stands there and targeted his lane phase, basically said beat him in lane or he's gonna carry. Well, that is fine, okay, that's a good idea, but now Kalista is gone, Lucian isn't doing as well, and Corki has moved to more of a mid lane pick, so suddenly it's not as easy to shut him down, and he is reaching his mid game power spike easier. Kog is very item reliant now, more than before. He needs that Rage Blade and Runaan's combo to really kick it into gear, but once he has that, he does a ton of damage. He's back as the kind of sit still, right click and win kind of AD. His lane phase is okay, it's not great, but it's not terrible, I guess. He can be easily burst, that's the one thing he's really weak to, but he can do some decent damage. With the most common build his team fights, you have damage, you have lifesteal, shields, and just about everything he needs to let him stand there and kill stuff. If you can camp him and shut him down, that's great. He'll be useless for a while he gets his items, but if you can't, then you are really in trouble. So I deliberately spent less time on the top 5 so I could talk more about other picks. So here are my 2. We're getting their picks, basically who is strong and will be getting stronger. Twitch is wrecking Diamond solo queue right now, like really badly. It's this assassin playstyle, bully the weaker guys and just kill them before they ramp up. That is getting him so many kills. But it's not like that's all he has. If that doesn't work out, then he has an amazing late game team fight with his long range, AoE poison and crits that will demolish a team if they group up. I honestly think this guy is amazing right now, and if you're proactive when you play him, you can carry so hard. Jinx is another one who is strong and just getting better and better. She is a tank killer, weakish in lane, but amazing mid to late game with long range, AoE damage, and her passive that snowballs a team fight if someone dies. I've been playing a lot of her recently. You might not have realized, but my YouTube icon is actually her rocket launcher. I might be a little bit biased with that, but Runaan's plus rockets plus Infinity Edge is so strong, and as long as you don't get destroyed in lane, you can do a huge amount of work and carry hard. So I hope you like this kind of semi-different style of